Hi everyone, and thanks for checking out this ranking video. So today we've reached the end of the month of August, so we've reached the end of the horror franchise that I've spent the month of August taking a look at, and that of course is Friday the 13th. I have all 12 individual film reviews up on my channel, as well as my first ranking video of ranking all the Friday the 13th final girls from all 12 movies. Today, of course, we'll be doing the big one, which is ranking all the movies from worst to best, if you will. But I prefer from my least favorite to my favorite because everybody has different tastes. Um, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and rank them from my least favorite to favorite, just to kind of show you again what I have here. The first eight movies, all the Paramount movies in this eight-pack Blu-ray collection. And I have Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X on the two-pack here. Freddie versus Jason, and the reboot remake Friday the 13th from 2009. Um, so yeah, before I get into it, I just want to say I'm not going to say too much about these movies as I go through them, just because I don't want this video to get too long. As I'm going to talk um, about what I got coming up next as well after I go through my ranking. I don't want this to be an overly long video. So I'll mention a few reasons why I have them where I do, but if you want a more in-depth analysis of what I thought of them, then go ahead and check out my individual reviews that are currently up on my channel, Brian's Horror Corner. Um, with that being said, first I want to just say a few things about the overall franchise. For the most part, I like all the movies in this franchise, even the ones that I have ranked lower on the list. I'm able to put most of them on pretty much any time and find enjoyment out of them, find things that I like from each movie, even though the overall movie might not work too well for me anyway, might not come together too well. But I would say of the 12 films, I kind of split them in half as far as how I view this series. I think the first six movies are really, really good. Even part five, which most people crap on. I really enjoy part five. It just has that sort of old school 80s grimy, cheesy slasher movie. And I like Tommy Jarvis in there. Even though a lot of people don't like the Tommy Jarvis character portrayal in that movie either. I do. I enjoy him in that movie. Um, So yeah, I view the first six movies in a higher, more prestigious light, I guess, and then starting with part seven, it's kind of hit or miss from there on out, from 7 to 12 for me. The last two Paramount movies, all the ones distributed through New Line, and then the remake, they're all kind of hit or miss for me, and I have them ranked at various positions on this list, but. Um, I think for Paramount, there's only one stinker out of the eight that they did. Seven out of eight movies are either pretty good to really good. New Line kind of by the time they got with New Line, the series had run its course. I feel like, even though I can find some things to like in some of the movies that New Line distributed, but yeah, I kind of six and six is kind of how I look at it. First six movies really good, right, bordering on all-time classic for a couple of them, which I'll get into here. The second six, the last six, really hit or miss, and there's definitely some misses in there as far as an overall Jason movie goes, or Friday the 13th movie goes. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to say. I also do have, and I didn't talk about this in my review, but I do have the two disc collectors, Crystal Lake Memories Blu-ray DVD, or yeah, Blu-ray, that I actually have not. I haven't watched this yet. I wanted to go through and watch all the movies first. So at some point, obviously, it's not going to be this month yet, since we only got one day left. But I'll probably do a review on this horror documentary and what I thought of it and how well it sort of sums everything up. From everybody I've talked to that's talked about this, it's really highly regarded as a documentary and really does a good job of covering the Friday the 13th series, but I'm not going to have time to do it with this particular franchise review. So, but I do want to say I have it, and at some point I'm going to watch it and do a review on it later on, down probably later this year, I would guess. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And now, without further ado, so this video doesn't get too long, we're going to go ahead and start with the ranking of the 12 films, starting with my least favorite. And that, of course, to nobody's surprise, probably, if you've watched my videos, is going to be as part of this pack. Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, which he does not take Manhattan, which is one of my big problems with this movie. Yeah, this is in last place because to start with is the title is deceiving. Even when they have scenes in New York, they're actually shot in Vancouver, so there's only like two or three scenes that are actually in the city of New York. Um, the characters are just blah in this movie, including the final girl. Um, you get again like the previous one, you get a lot of cutaway kills, and then the whole ending with the toxic sludge and everything that he gets turned into a little kid. Oh, just awful. I This is the one movie out of all 12 that I probably would have the hardest time putting on again and sitting through, in all honesty. I know it has its fans, mostly from nostalgia, I think, for people that grew up with it, but yeah, no, it's not good in my opinion. So that's my number 12. Number 11, I'm going to go with the Friday the 13th, 2009 reboot or remake, whatever you like. This movie I most recently reviewed for this series. I thought it was okay. I mean, I'm not as high on it as some people as far as remakes, as being one of the best horror remakes. I think Derek Mears is pretty good as Jason. And the movie looks good, of course, because it's made in the late 2000s. But once it's just so cliche. The characters, I can't stand them in this movie. The final girl's not particularly strong. Um, and there's way too much TNA and sex in this movie that's just gratuitous and really has no other purpose there than to get young men in the theaters at the time that it came out. So that's going to be my number 11. Number 10, I'm going to go with the crossover movie. I guess well, it doesn't really matter. I didn't show you. That's my number 11. This is my number 10, Freddie versus Jason, the crossover movie. Now, this is a good movie that I really enjoy, but I enjoy it more as a Freddie movie because ultimately I feel like it is more of a Freddie movie. And as a Jason movie, Jason's just kind of there, kind of like this movie is in the franchise for me. Um, I don't mind Ken Kersinger as Jason, but as I said in my review, it should have been Kane Hodder. I'm going to stick with that till the day I die. But it's a well directed movie by Ronnie Yu, and Robert Englund as Freddy's really good in it. But again, I'm reviewing this from a Jason standpoint. Some of the CGI is not good. The final girl, I'm not crazy about. Both the acting and how it was written with some of the lines and dialogue. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, I enjoy watching it, but I enjoy watching it more as a Nightmare on Elm Street movie than I do a Friday the 13th movie. So that's why it's here at number 10. Um, Number 9 is going to come up on this one, which is Jason X from 2001, 2002. Um, yeah, Jason X is a ridiculous movie, but it's one of those movies, as I said in my review, that you can put on and have a good time with it, especially with friends. Um, the best kill, of course, is the frozen kill with the face and breaking the face and the red slush that comes out of it. But I mean, it's Jason in space. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. It's the worst CGI in the franchise. The pretty good final girl in Rowan. I don't really care for Jason's look at the beginning. Uber Jason isn't too bad, but yeah, Jason X is enjoyable enough. I can watch it, but it's a pretty silly premise, obviously, and not very good acting either, for the most part, other than Kane Hodder and Lexi Doy does a pretty good job. So that's going to be my number 9, I guess. Number 8, I'm going to also hold this up for the other movie in here, which is Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Um, this is a better made movie than Jason X, which is why I have it ranked ahead of it, but it's probably less of a Friday the 13th movie that I recognize, because obviously Jason's not in this movie very much, only at the beginning and the end. You have a final girl that we're not introduced to until like almost halfway through the movie, half an hour in, which is Jessica Kimball. Stephen Williams as Creighton Duke is great. He's the best character in this movie. Stephen by John D. LeMay is okay. He's more or less the final guy in this case, but um, Yeah, I didn't like the look of Jason. He's not in the movie much. I do think the characters are a little bit more compelling than some of the movies that I mentioned already. The blood and the gore and the kills are really good in this movie, which raises it up a little bit more too. As well, it's just a more competently made film. It's a better made and directed film. Um, by Adam Marcus. So, but as I said, it's not a great Friday the 13th movie, which most people will talk about. It does have continuity issues and some plot contrivances, but I don't mind it. I can put it on. It's a well made movie. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Um, I lost track. I guess that's my number. Yeah, number eight. Sorry. I'm doing this off of my notes here. That's number eight. So now we get into number seven, and I swear I'm not just going in order, but number seven is Friday the 13th, Part Seven, The New Blood from 1988, part of the eight pack, of course. This is a pretty good Friday the 13th movie, but this is also where they started with the gimmick. Um, the first six movies were pretty solid in that Jason was the killer for four out of the six, but you kind of got Hockey Mask Killer for five out of the six. This is the one, Carrie versus Jason, basically with Tina Shepard, who was a solid final girl. She does a lot of damage to Jason. It's compelling. The look of Jason is the best in this movie than in any other movie, in my opinion. Especially once he becomes zombie Jason, just has a great look to him. Um, it's a pretty good showdown in the third act, but a terrible ending once again, just like part eight. Um, yeah, no, I hate the ending of this movie. Most of the characters are pretty throwaway. Like I said, the final girl's pretty good, and this is the first movie that Kane Hodder plays Jason. So, yeah, overall, it's a good above average, I would say, Friday the 13th movie for me at number seven. Coming at number six is going to be the one that a lot of people crap on, and that's Friday the 13th Part Five, A New Beginning from 1985. Obviously, all the movies from here on out are part of this pack. Um, yeah, I kind of like the whodunit aspect of this movie. Now they don't execute it perfectly, as I said in my review. But not having Jason doesn't bother me a whole lot in this movie because you still get the hockey mask killer, and the first time you watch it, you don't really know that it's not Jason. Um, and like I said, I enjoyed John Shepard's portrayal of Tommy Jarvis in this movie, which kind of goes against the norm for most people. I enjoy the Tommy Jarvis timeline where it picks up in this movie. The fact that he would be pretty disturbed after the events of the previous movie. There's lots of on-screen kills, lots of kills in this movie, a good amount of TNA. I think a pretty good final girl in Pam Roberts, and again that goes against the grain as well for most people, played by Melanie Kinnaman. Um, yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed part five. I could put it on anytime. It's kind of in the middle for me, obviously. It's not the best Friday the 13th movie, but it's certainly not as bad as some people say that it is, in my opinion. So now we get into the top five here. And at number five, might surprise some people, but maybe not. It's going to be the original Friday the 13th from 1980. Um, Produced and directed by Sean Cunningham, of course. This one probably still has the best suspense in it all the way through. They do a really good job with the atmosphere and the suspense and sort of the whodunit aspect. Um, it's almost as good of a mystery as it is a slasher film. You have a pretty good final girl in Alice Hardy, played by Adrienne King. Although if you've seen my ranking video, the final girl, she's not necessarily at the top of the list, but the beheading at the end is pretty cool. And then of course we get the big jump scare dream sequence at the end, which I like and I don't like. You have to watch my more in depth review of that. But yeah, Friday the 13th, the original, obviously set the template and the standard for all these movies. So I have that as my number five. Number four is going to be Friday the 13th Part 3 or Friday the 13th 3D. I watched it in 2D, obviously, because I don't have the 3D glasses. I really like this movie. Not all the characters are great, but I love the portrayal of Jason in this movie by Richard Brooker. That was enough to drop it in this spot on its own accord. And again, going against the grain, I really like Dana Kimmel as Chris Higgins in this movie. if you see my previous video for the rankings of all the Final the 13th girls, she's right at the very top. I don't find her annoying like some people do. I think she's actually, you could make the argument that she might be the best final girl. She wasn't quite my favorite, as you'll see on that video, but she's really good. A lot of this movie takes place in a barn or around a barn, which doesn't really bother me because barns can be creepy, but it's really Richard Brooker as Jason. The kills are pretty good. Like I said, the final girl is good. The third act is really good with all the chase and the fight and everything. Um, the rest of the characters are pretty much stock. It's not the best movie when it comes to like supporting cast and stuff. And it does take a little long to get going in the first third of the movie or so, as I said in my review. But still, I really enjoy Friday the 13th Part 3. So now we're in my top three, the creme de la creme of Friday the 13th movies. And at number three, I have a lot of people's favorite, and that is Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. This was the beginning of Zombie Jason. This is kind of where they changed the tone of it from being more of a serious Friday the 13th movie, like they kind of more or less tried to do in the first five movies. And they kind of realized what they had. And that's never been more evident at the beginning when Jason does the old James Bond parody and slashes at the camera. But this movie's fun. Again, Tommy Jarvis is played by Tom Matthews. I don't enjoy him quite as much as I did um, the one in part five, or certainly Corey Feldman in part four, but he's solid enough. I really enjoy the final girl, though, played by Jennifer Cook as Megan Garris. I think she's a really good sort of yin to his yang in this movie. And obviously, this movie's known for its kills, its comedy that they mix in with the kills. Jason is played by didn't I write that down on my notes here? Oh, I know I did. Just a second here. No, I guess I didn't, huh? Sorry about that. I forget who Jason's played by, but I like him in this movie. He's really brutal. Um, C.J. Graham. I knew I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, I think he does a really good job. Very menacing as Jason. Like I said, great final girl to go along with the wrap up to the Tommy Jarvis trilogy. It's well directed, no wasted space. Yeah, what can I say? Great, fun movie to put on. Jason Lives is my number three. Number two is going to be Friday the 13th, Part 2 from 1981. Now, this has the best final girl by far. Well, I shouldn't say by far, but along with Chris Higgins, there's there's a gap in between those two. But yeah, Jenny, played by Amy Steele, is really solid. There's really good blood and gore in this movie. It's shot well. Obviously, this is the first movie with Jason as the killer. Now, this is Sackhead Jason, which it's not my favorite Jason, but it's effective enough given the final girls. And we actually have some pretty decent characters in this movie. That's what raises it up a little bit for me. The whole beginning with returning to Alice, I could have done without. Um, another dream sequence and all that kind of stuff, or was it at the end? But yeah, this is just great atmosphere, great execution, great characters. Yeah, I just can't say enough about it. But it's really our final girl and Jenny, I should say, played by Amy Steele, as well as the rest of the characters that make that an enjoyable Friday the 13th movie. But of course, there can only be one number one, I should say, and to nobody's surprise, probably. That's going to be Friday the 13th, the final chapter from 1984. Um, this movie has the best characters. It has one of the best Jasons. It has one of the best final girls. The atmosphere, the tone, the kills, just kind of everything about it works. It all works. It all comes together. Before we got zombie Jason, this is still human Jason. The end of human Jason, the demise of human Jason. You get this is the one you get Crispin Glover and his dance in it. You get Corey Feldman shaving his head at the end as Tommy Jarvis. Kimberly Beck playing Trish Jarvis is a great final girl. I mean, most of the characters are great in this movie. Very claustrophobic movie, great atmosphere. Ted White is Jason's at the very top of the list of people to play Jason. Um, right there with Richard Brooker and Kane Hodder. Um, Yeah, just I can't say enough about it. It's got a dark, serious tone. It's not quite as much of a B horror movie as some of the previous ones, or even the later ones. In the case of Part Five, it's actually suspenseful and scary, and great practical effects by Tom Savini. So that's definitely my number one is Friday the 13th Part Four, Friday the 13th, the final chapter from my eight pack here. So yeah, that's Friday the 13th, guys. I finally got through all of them, all 12 films and two ranking videos. And go ahead and comment down below in the comments. Go ahead and give me your ranking for the Friday the 13th series. What you think of my ranking, but more more or less give me what your ranking is and talk about how you enjoy these movies or don't enjoy them. And now we move on to what's next for me. So I've looked at three horror franchises so far: for Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th. There's another pretty big one out there that, if you haven't guessed by now, that I'm going to be taking a look at in September, and that is Halloween. Yeah, 11 movies in the Halloween franchise now. I own all 11, so during the month of September, I will be taking a look at all 11 Halloween movies. And of course, have a ranking video at the very end of the month, like I do with all of these. But I'll be ranking the individual movies throughout the month, as I have with my previous three series. Now, you might be asking, well, how come you're not just going to wait and do it in October, the month of Halloween? Well, it's because I'm going to do in October what I did in May. If you look at some of my earlier videos, which is a 31 movies in 31 days of October, which other people have done. There's videos up on that, but 31 and 31 from my horror collection. About half of them are going to be horror anthology movies. The other half are going to be standalone or other movies, horror movies from my collection. So stay tuned for that for October. But first up, we got the Halloween franchise, which I'm going to be taking a look at starting in a few days here with the first movie. So please like this video and subscribe to my channel to see those Halloween reviews, as well as my 31 and 31 of October review, as well as other standalone movie reviews. So thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe again to my channel and hit the little notification bell to see when these videos are downloaded. And thank you for watching. Stay scared. Bye.